number one, man, you need to have trust. I think that's massive, So like for me, everything we do in my room and with the athletes works off trust. They need to trust me and I need to trust them. And that goes deep. It doesn't just go in like, I trust that they're doing the work that I'm telling them. I need to trust that when they tell me how they feel or how deep they tell me what they're feeling, that it's the truth and we can work from that, because it's neither good nor bad. But if it's not real, I can't actually help you. So trust is number one, man. And then trust in the training room. I need to trust that my guys and girls, I say guys as a general term, but I mean girls as well. I've got a lot of girls in the gym too, but I need to trust them that they want the best for me like I want the best for them. And I think that falls into the category too. You guys need to be like-minded in what you're pursuing, you know what I mean? And there has to be this emphasis on team. I can't have the guy next to me who's in the same weight class be sniping me every day because he wants what I want. We need to be building each other up and we need to be helping each other. And, you need to have that consistency that I know my guys are going to turn up to all my pro practices, because it's not just about them. It's about the guy next to you or the girl next to you, and it's about helping them. And you might not get a super fight or a major tournament or anything for 6 to 8 months, but you're still in there every day because the guy next to you, it's his shot now.
Welcome back to the BJJ Fanatics podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Ford. My guest today is a second-degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's also an IBJJF Pan-Pacific champion and a multiple-time IBJJF champion and other titles as well. He was an M16 Super Fight winner, a Samurai Fight Series Super Fight winner. He's also the coach of multiple ADCC, IBJJF, Who's Number One, Grapple Fest, and Polaris champions, including Adele Fornerino, Keith Krikorian, and Mo Black, just to name a few. He teaches out of Essence Jiu-Jitsu in Perth, Australia. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to be joined today by Jake O'Driscoll. How are you today, Jake?
Yeah, really good, man. Thank you so much for having me on. Obviously, been a big fan of the podcast for so long, listened to it for a very long time. So it's a bit surreal to be on, to be fair. And I really appreciate you having me here.
Jake, that really does mean a lot to me, man. Thank you so much for being a longtime listener. It means a lot to me that someone of your caliber tunes in all the time. So the honor is mine, and I really do appreciate it. Jake, if you don't mind, the question I always like to start with, tell us about where you're from originally and what life was like before you found jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, man. So I'm still in Perth, WA, all the way out in Australia. It's the most isolated major city in the world. Was born and bred here. My gym's in a little suburb called Belmont. I grew up there as well my whole life. Played Aussie rules footy when I was younger, which most Australians do. And like most Aussies, they think they're going to make it and be a superstar on the football field. And I thought the same thing. And when that didn't happen, I started boxing for a little bit. And my boxing coach, I was getting like private lessons from a boxing instructor, and he told me I should wrestle with these guys that were doing jiu-jitsu, and I didn't want to do it. And funnily enough, one of the guys he's got a gym near mine now. His name is Romel Luistro. He's got two guys in the UFC at the moment, one of them being Quillen Salkild, who's just absolutely tearing it up at the moment. Yeah, they're about 10 minutes from my gym. So Romel Luistro was actually the first guy I ever rolled with. And I was under his tutelage for a long period of time, and I basically quit football and pursued jiu-jitsu and did everything career-wise that I could to make sure I spent as much time on the mats as I could until I could open my own gym. And then then I got into the coaching side of it just more recently in terms of like professionally, I would say, professional coaching, but teaching in my own gym. I think this is 8 years now I've had this place. So it's been nice. It's been a good ride.
That's really incredible, man. It's so funny I want to say maybe 9 years ago or so, I was talking to Higan Machado privately, and Higan told me, man, keep your eyes on Australia. I said, Australia? He goes, dude, I'm telling you, keep your eyes on Australia. And it wasn't too much longer after that started, Lachlan Giles, Craig Jones, Adele, all these guys started popping up. And I was like, damn, dude, Higan knew what was up. He knew what was going on. The scene in Australia has become very strong in the last decade.
The Machado Association is pretty big here, so I think he would have visited like quite a bit and seen a lot. But there is a lot of talent here, man. There's a lot of talent coming through. I'm very lucky to get to work with a lot of those talented athletes and speak to a lot of those talented coaches too, quite a bit. The community is pretty small still, so you get to know everyone that's around. So there's a lot more coming, and I think you know, your Craig and your Lockie, and then Adele kicked that door open for a lot of us, and a lot of us are running through it now, which is amazing. So
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Wait, let me ask you this. You mentioned that you started with boxing. Do you still box at all too? Or are you just primarily jiu-jitsu?
just went back. I literally
Cool.
just went
Cool.
back maybe like
Awesome.
maybe a month or so ago. I had bad elbows for a long time. I had like really like I can't straighten my arm at all, so I couldn't really do any kind of extension or anything like that. And I finally got surgery last year, and then this year, like one of my hobbies was, well, one of my goals was just, man, I got to get out of the gym because this is literally all I do. I spend time with my daughter and I do jiu-jitsu. So I was like, man, I need to meet. I'm getting old. I need to meet people. I need to socialize, but I want to do something with like-minded individuals, So I just went to a boxing gym that was close. That they don't produce fighters. It's not a boxer fit or anything. They do proper boxing, but they weren't going to push me to take a fight, or they weren't doing MMA because obviously I got a lot of friends in the MMA scene, but I didn't really want to go to a place where I'm going to end up, you know, doing an hour of boxing and then teach an hour of jiu-jitsu or something. I just wanted to go there for me for an hour and just zone out. So I found a cool gym, and it's really cool because they're super nice, and I've made some friends there, which my daughter is finds fascinating because she's like, you finally got friends your age, and I'm like, yeah, this is great. Like we're going out for lunch and like we're going to the beach and stuff. I was like, this is cool. So it's really nice. It's called Good Vibes Boxing. It's literally 10 minutes from my own gym, and shout out to them because they've been amazing. And yeah, I've literally just gone back. So it's been good. It's been fun.
That's awesome. That's so cool. Jake, I'm going to be 41 in April, and I
Yeah,
boxed
yeah.
growing up as a kid. And then I got into jujitsu and kind of forgot everything else. I
Yep.
just became like tunnel vision with jujitsu for the last 20 years or so. And funny enough, a few years ago, I got back into it myself. I have a
Yeah.
great coach here named Igor Nanato. And I forgot how much I enjoy it. And also, man,
Yep.
it's been it's been tremendously beneficial for my jujitsu. My cardio now is like way beyond what it was.
Yeah.
Jujitsu is
I
obviously, yeah, it's good for cardio, but man, boxing is a different level of cardio, and it's applicable for sure.
completely agree, man. And like the energy systems and the little sprint work that we do, and we're a big believer in my gym and what I do with the athletes on like a first point or king of the mat style training where you got to score quite quickly, or and that takes like a speed burst, and being able to back that up more like a rugby style of training where it's like little quick bursts over like a long period of running kind of thing. And yeah, boxing does that perfectly, man. The skipping gets me. Like I can't skip for like 3 minutes of skipping. I was like, man, I
I can't
sparred with
either.
like 10 black belts yesterday and I can't skip for 3 minutes. I don't know what, like, I don't know what this is. So
I finally had to tell my coach, please just stop bringing the jump rope. I know it's good for me. I just please quit bringing it. I don't want to do it. I'm
yeah,
terrible at it. My coordination, I don't know. Like when you're real tired and it's like all you have to do is jump 2 inches off the ground to let the
yeah,
thing
yeah,
pass, but you're tired, so you lose the rhythm. And
yeah. And it just gets
yeah,
you, man. And it just
yeah.
blows me up, but yeah, that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, man, it's super cool that you got back into it. Let me ask you this. When do you think that you knew you wanted to be a coach? When did you know that teaching was going to be the path that you wanted to take?
I didn't, man. I really didn't. I had my gym and I enjoyed teaching classes, but in terms of like coaching athletes or like trying to produce world champions or ADCC champions, whatever, I didn't. I was always the guy and still am. I want to be the guy in the arena. I want to be the guy that's first, like if there's ever, a challenge, I'm the one that wants to take it. I like being in that position. I like the pressure. I like um the individuality, sorry, of it. But I think, man, when Adele came to the gym and we kind of formed that relationship, uh, I started to do a bit more with her, and then I kind of just figured out that I was like decent at it, I guess, in a humble way, that I kind of understood more than I probably should have at that time. And then I pride myself on my work ethic. So like when I started to take coaching seriously as a professional coach, I didn't want to just like watch someone's 5 minute rolling clip and be like, oh man, you should just pass to your left side. Or, I wanted to break it down so much and everything that they do that I was outworking them as a coach as they are as athletes. And, when you kind of do that and you have an athlete as talented as someone like an Adele or a Dante or a Keith or something, the results end up speaking for themselves. So it just kind of happened, man, to be fair. I've always been a big sports nut. I've always read books and watched documentaries and read biographies and all those kind of things. So I kind of just fell into it, to be fair. Now I kind of see it different. I feel like it's probably more of a role I play than as an athlete. even though I still compete and still have major athletic goals. I think I coach at a higher level than I probably compete at. And I'm okay with that now. It used to petrify me, man. It really did. I didn't want to be that guy. I wanted to be the guy that was competing. But now I like it because I'm able to, for me, man, jiu-jitsu is a vehicle to help people. That's the way I try and explain what I do. It's like I'm a religious man. I'm not fussed if anyone else isn't or they what their views are. But for me, like this is what God put me here to do to help people, not to get me good at jiu-jitsu, not to, to be better than anyone else, but to be able to reach more people because I'm at a higher level and help more people. And I truly believe that that's what I was born to do. And coaching is just a part of that. Coaching is just an extension of that, which for me now, like I said, I love it, man. I love being able to travel the world with some of these athletes and go behind the scenes with some of these athletes. Like, Dante Leon was one of these guys that I watched growing up a lot, man, a lot. And now I've got this relationship with him that is incredible. And, I get to help. And I've been, in his corner for one championship title fights, which is surreal. It's just absolutely surreal, man. So I'm very blessed and grateful in that regard.
That's incredible. Man, I love hearing that. I love hearing that, first of all, that it wasn't something you were even initially planning to do. But then you just realize it's something you're really good at. And by the way, you don't have to be humble about your coaching results anymore. Once your students start winning ADCC World Championships, I think that's the mark where it's like, okay, I don't have to be so humble anymore. I'm pretty damn good at this. Yeah. So
Thank you, man. It's still surreal, to be fair. It's still surreal sometimes, like we
sure.
talk about this a little bit more inside our own gym of, there's only one professional title that I haven't had an athlete compete for, which is the UFC belt, which, you got Keith and Adele. I'm sure they're going to get title shots at some point. But I've had an athlete I've either prepped for or cornered compete for every other major professional title in the sport. And like I said, I'm from the most isolated major city in the world, man. So for me, it's like I'm not in one of these meccas. So it is surreal sometimes. I pinch myself that I get these opportunities to work with these athletes and live this dream. So when I say that, it is still me just being like, man, it's surreal to me sometimes.
I've earned every bit of it. Let me ask you this, Jake. What do you think? Give me your thoughts on creating an optimal training environment for athletic
Mm.
success. Like, what are some things that you think are really critical in any training room where you have serious athletes that are trying to reach the top levels? What are some things you have to have, and what are some things that you can't have?
Yeah, so number one, man, you need to have trust. I think that's massive. So like for me, everything we do in my room and with the athletes works off trust. They need to trust me and I need to trust them. And that goes deep. It doesn't just go in like, I trust that they're doing the work that I'm telling them. I need to trust that when they tell me how they feel or how deep they tell me what they're feeling, that it's the truth and we can work from that because it's neither good nor bad. But if it's not real, I can't actually help you. So trust is number one, man. And then trust in the training room. I need to trust that my guys and girls, I say guys as a general term, but I mean girls as well. I've got a lot of girls in the gym too, but that I need to trust them that they want the best for me, like I want the best for them. And I think that falls into the category too. You guys need to be like-minded in what you're pursuing. You know what I mean? And there has to be this emphasis on team. I can't have the guy next to me who's in the same weight class be sniping me every day because he wants what I want. We need to be building each other up and we need to be helping each other. And, you need to have that consistency that I know my guys are going to turn up to all my pro practices because it's not just about them. It's about the guy next to you or the girl next to you. And it's about helping them. And you might not get a super fight or a major tournament or anything for 6 to 8 months, but you're still in there every day because the guy next to you, it's his shot now and you got to help him. So just having that trust, that consistency of those like-minded individuals and trusting the process too, man. Like the process is long and it's boring. And like sometimes I coach newer athletes or people will reach out to me and, within 2 or 3 weeks, they're like, oh man, is this what you do? Like, I thought it was going to be more. And I'm like, no, this is it because this is what works.
It's the
And this is how you
formula.
get the
Yeah.
result. Yeah, this is how the results come, man. And we build this over time. And then you see with the athletes that I've had, longer careers with your Adele, your Dante, your Keith, I've been with them for Dante and Keith like a year and a bit now, and Adele 5 or 6. We have that trust. You know what I mean? We have that bond where it's like, okay, we know each other and we know what we're doing, and wins or losses, it is what it is, but the process is the most important. So I think that's massive, man. I think that's the difference between like a pro. When I say we have a pro team, none of them are professionals. Like they're young kids, they don't get paid, they don't have major sponsors, but it's a professional mindset. And the professional mindset is, it's a team environment, man. You have to be in there for the team. It's not one person better than the other person. And I think we really have that with not just myself, but the athletes that I coach. And I also try and bring them all together, So like obviously with Adele, Mo Black, Valerie Wong, Brianna St. Marie. I always forget, so I try not to list them because they get salty at me when I don't name drop them. But like I'll bring them together, man. So for Adele's CGI camp, I produced this room of probably the best female training room that's ever been. I think we had like 8 ADCC medalists, multiple time IBJJF world champions, professional titles everywhere, trials winners. Anna Mayadomo was in that room. She went on a run after that. Valerie Wong was in that room, got silver at trials after that. Mo Black won trials after that. Lauren Sears won Nogi Worlds after that. And I'm not saying that it was because of the camp, but what I'm saying is that when you bring athletes together like that and they all have the same mission, which at the time was prepare Adele as well as possible for CGI, then you can build off that foundation. So I think it's super, super important, man.
That's excellent. I mean, I love how much thought I can see where the success of your team is coming from. Cause I mean, you put a lot of thought in this. I can see that you structure you have a very deep structure to what you're doing. And I think that's really outstanding.
It's all the time. And it's like, this is, where I feel like I separate myself sometimes is like I said, man, this is what I do. So like one person I study a lot is obviously Tom Brady. And like, man, he would talk about knowing the other teams better than they know themselves. Well,
Yeah.
dude's getting paid $100 million a year. It's actually not his job to know the teams. It's his coach's job to know the teams and pass it on. But he was doing that because he wanted to be better and he wanted to be the best. So I try and carry that mindset across, man. Like, yeah, I could leave some things, but it's not me as a person. I have to cover all bases, man, and make sure that everything's been done so that we're as prepared as possible.
When it comes to designing training sessions for your athletes, there's an interesting balance out there, and this gets debated a lot about the proper balance of hard training rounds and more technical rounds, and sometimes even technical days and harder days. Sometimes they're split up into days rather than just rounds. What are your thoughts on that? What do you think has been the most successful, and why do you think that you do it the way you do?
Yeah, I think again, man, it falls back to that trust process, and it's going to be hard for people to understand. But like, you can go hard every day if you trust the training partner you're with, because they're not going to hurt you, and that they're going to protect you. So we have a rule in the gym, man. Like, it's not like look after yourself at all times. It's actually look after your training partner, because if I'm focused on you and making sure you're safe, and you're doing the same for me, we're both going to be safe. If I'm looking after me, I don't know if you're looking after you. You know what I mean? So there could be a miscommunication there. So I think that is important, man. I think it also comes down to the individual. So like if you take, I'll reference them a lot in this podcast only because they're the more well-known names and it's easier for people to relate to. But if you look at Adele and Dante, they can't be on the same schedule. Dante is a maniac, man. That dude, literally after the Ty Rutulo match, we went to Sizzler. We had some cheese toast and then we were lifting weights. Like, that's how he is, man. That's just him as a person. And Adele doesn't do that, but that doesn't mean that's wrong. You know what I mean? But she might have a big super fight and then, she's going to go spend some time with her fiance for a week and then she needs some downtime. And then, okay, when she's back, she'll let me know. And when she's in, she's in. So like, they're two completely different athletes. So I can't tell her to do the schedule that Dante does because it wouldn't work for her, and vice versa. So I think that really comes down to the individual. For me, man, I like to train twice a day. I train twice a day every day. I do my hard session in the morning with the pro team. That's anywhere between an hour to 2 hours of actual sparring, not rest periods and coaching and technique, like actual sparring. And then at night, I'll train with my gym, the hobbyists per se, in the night class, and I'll get 5 or 6 5-minute rounds out, but I'll be laughing and joking and bantering with people. And if someone asks me a question during the round, I'll answer it. Or I'll pick partners I don't usually roll with or whatever, Whereas in the pro session in the morning, don't talk to me while we're rolling. Like, don't ask me questions. Like, I'm here to train. This is my training time too. I'm a professional. I'm gonna outwork you. Yes, I am the coach and I'm the leader. I get it, but I'm also an athlete. Like, so I want to train. So I like to split it that way, man. And then I do that, 4 days a week, and then on a Tuesday and a Thursday, I'll double up with weights and like boxing, and then Saturday is jiu-jitsu, a lighter session, and weights as well. So I do two a day, 6 days a week, but that's just me. You know what I mean? I don't think there's one size fits all in terms of training, volume, or approach either. Because I'm sure like a follow-up question will be about the CLA and specific training compared to live rounds, etc. Man, I think you really just got to go and find what works for you, and whatever you can retain and relate to, that's the best practice for you.
I always really enjoy picking the brains of coaches because everyone has kind of a different formula. There are a
Yeah.
lot of consistent things across the board when you talk to people, because there are things that just work generally across the board, but how they're applied is always interesting to see with
Yep.
different coaches and how they map it out. Let me ask you this. Obviously, something that's really important for athletes is recovery time. You talked about how you have monsters like Dante, who, you guys are having a match with Cade and then going to Sizzler and he's lifting weights, whereas Adele might take a
Yeah.
week off. Truth be told,
Yeah.
I'm more like an Adele. I like to.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a maniac like Dante,
Yeah.
but obviously having recovery between training sessions and between competitions is really important. How do you typically address that with an athlete, and how do you take someone like a Dante who's like a maniacal trainer versus someone who likes to take a little time off in between big events and things like that? Is it different how you approach recovery?
Yeah, so for me, man, I actually don't like, I try and like, I don't control those things for those guys because they're professionals. So what I
Sure.
do is, and what I do with, them, and everybody's different, man. I have more of a role with like an Adele, whereas, Dante's been a professional for so long, like the role I play with him, and he's got Heath, and it always weirds me out when I don't like to say coach, because like I'm not Dante's coach. I don't coach him. Like, I help in areas of parts of his game and whatever. But Adele was a little bit different because she was with me for so long. But I try not to control those things. I just give them my honest opinion on what they should do and why. And usually that'll come from research or, data that we've collected over time. And then they make their own decisions, because at the end of the day, it's their career, man. And even though I might form friendships with these guys, uh, it's their career. It's not mine. So like, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with them being like, no, I don't want to do what you said. I want to do this. Now, when it comes to like game plans and strategies, I haven't had kickback from any of the athletes. They might ask why, but it's never been like, no, I'm not doing that. But in terms of like, I would never tell them you need to do this or you need to do that. I just more advise like, hey, this is what we should do. And like I said, man, when it works, it works. So it's pretty easy to follow. Um, in terms of being professional, like I think that's the whole part of the process, though. I do it probably too much with the guys in my own gym. I probably baby them too much. I probably do too much for them compared to like an Adele, where like if she comes to me with a problem, I'll be like, okay, how have you tried to solve it first? And she'll be like, oh, this or this. I'm like, perfect, that's great. Or I haven't actually. I just wanted your advice, and then I'll give the advice. Whereas the guys in the gym, I try and do too much for them, and I think you really just got to figure it out, man. Because trial and error and failing and making mistakes is one of the best teachers. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like
yeah.
it's one of, and it sucks. I know it sucks, and losing sucks, and not being your best sucks, and underperforming sucks. I understand this. I understand this as an athlete. I understand this as a coach, but it's also, sometimes it's our best teacher, and sometimes it's our best lesson. So like if I feel like an athlete isn't performing well because, they're video gaming at night every night, and I know they are, I'll let them do it, man. And then when 2 weeks later and they're like, man, I feel like crap. I'm like, yes, because of this. So how
Yeah.
about we cut this out? And then, but then they've collected that data themselves. It's not them coming to me on day one and being like, man, I played Fortnite to 2 a.m. last night. And me being like, oh, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do this. Like, no, that's okay. But in 2 weeks, when I'm beating on your ass, then you're going to be like, I shouldn't have played Fortnite last night. I know I've got a guy coming to the gym tomorrow, man, he's world class. His name's Will Diaz. He's a Perth local. And I love eating lollies, man. I love eating chocolate. I haven't eaten any this week because I want to make sure I've got rounds with him tomorrow that are good. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to get a stitch. I don't want to get tired because he's going to beat me
Yeah.
up. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I need to lock in, you know? So it's more of that, man. It's more of like an advising role than it is actually like I tell them what to do. It's probably a better way to explain it.
That's great. I feel like the video game thing's a direct attack to Adele. I feel like you're
Nah,
talking right
it's a partner Nev and Nev will listen to this and Nev's Eastern European, so she's fiery and
Yeah.
we have some fiery conversations sometimes. I love her, but we have some fiery conversations. She's a Fortnite player. Yeah,
Yeah.
so she'll drag Adele into it. Yeah, then they'll get stuck into a video. I'll be like, you've been playing games, haven't you? And be like, yeah.
When Adele was on the show, we went deep on video games. We were talking
Yeah.
poke. It went from jujitsu to like Pokemon to like Fortnite to yeah.
Man,
But no,
sometimes people forget how
yeah,
young she is, you know? They forget she's, just turned 26. She's
yeah,
25, 26. Like they forget how young, especially, with how she is a leader in the women's community specifically. Sometimes people forget how young she is, man, because she
sure.
doesn't carry herself that way. Um, which is a blessing and a curse in some regards, but obviously proud of her. But yeah, her with video games or the food she eats and stuff is sometimes very she gets along very well with my daughter. I'll say that the both of them
Nice.
are very they get along very well.
Well, speaking of being a dad, something you said there really resonated with me just as a parent, and that is that you talked about the importance of letting someone fail in order to learn, and that's
Yeah.
something that I apply pretty heavily to my own kids. Like it's something that like
Yes.
I don't let them get hurt. Like if I see they're going to touch
Yes.
something that's going to burn them, obviously I'm not going to be like, oh, you're going to learn today. No, I don't do all that.
Yeah.
It's not that
Yeah.
not that extreme. But if
Yeah.
if my kids are having a trouble putting something together or picking or organizing something properly, whatever, I usually will sit back until I see that they truly can't move forward, and then I jump in. I've never
Yeah.
heard someone talk about that in coaching and jiu-jitsu, and that's really interesting because it is such an effective way for someone to learn. Yet, as jujitsu coaches, we often see people really hyper adjusting and correcting things so that way you don't
Hmm.
build bad habits. But I appreciate what
Yeah.
you just said. It's an interesting perspective because you do have to let people fail sometimes to learn. You don't always have to correct everything they do right away.
Yeah,
You
I,
know.
I, I I don't do a lot of it when I teach too, man. I kind of let people, and even when I teach seminars and stuff, sometimes someone will ask a question. I'll be like, I'm really glad you asked that question because I actually left that detail out on purpose. And people will be like,
Mm,
what? Why would you do that? Like, why are you trying to hide details or are you being lazy with your teaching? I'm like, no, because in my opinion, this is what you should be learning and retaining. Everything else
mm,
is a bonus. So the fact you asked that question is actually, a credit to you understanding what's going on. But if you only left this seminar and you only picked up these two things that I spoke about, that's what I wanted you to pick up. So everything else is a bonus. So I do that a lot with my guys too. And, they're more than welcome to come and ask questions and stuff. But most of the time they'll know. And my daughter gets it as well. If she was here, she'd say it. I'll be like, have you figured it out? And they'll be like, no, because they know they haven't even tried. And then they'll go and try and they'll try. And then they'll be like, look, man, I'm just not getting it. Or is this right? And then I'm like, okay, yeah, you're on the right path, but let's look at this. Or, whatever it is. And like, I definitely don't think I'm one of those coaches that knows everything about jiu-jitsu. I definitely study a lot. But even I do, like I said, man, I still study to this day. I was studying before we got on this call. So like, I'm always studying, but I prefer that method, man, because I'm also a big believer that if you're able to figure something out yourself, the likelihood of you retaining it is actually quite high. If I tell you something, especially because if I tell you something, it can also depend on your mood. If you're in a bad mood, you fought with your wife, or you had a bad day at your job, or whatever it is, and I'm in your face going, man, you just never get the underhook. Why are you so stupid? Why you don't just go get the underhook? You're probably gonna just be like, well, fuck, you're an asshole,
yeah.
man. I don't want to listen to you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But if you're like, man, I'm just having a really bad day and I just can't pass the guard and I've been trying this, and this, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe think about doing this. And then you go into the position, oh, okay, now I get it because you put that into play. I didn't put it into play. I just gave you like a window to look into and okay, I picked it up. I
That's
I like that. I think it's, but I also know that if you do push me for an answer, then I have it and I'll give it to you. And if I don't have it, I'll tell you I don't have it and I'll find out. So like sometimes it can be seen as lazy or he just doesn't want to answer the question. It's like, well, no. this is how I believe you learn the best. That's why you're asking me for the answer. You know, if you want to learn a different way, there's a plenty of good coaches out there, man. Probably learn from them, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. Speaking of studying and research, I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier that's interesting. You talked about how you like to study Tom Brady and how you
Mm,
appreciated that Tom Brady studied the game and his opponents so much that he knew them better than themselves. That's obviously
yep.
something very important as a coach. It's good for athletes to do it too, obviously, but for a coach especially, it's good to know, especially in super fight scenarios or in a big stage where there's like a 8-man bracket or whatever, and it's not a 100-person bracket where it would be very difficult to study every single person.
Mhm.
Talk to me about neutralizing the A games of opponents of your students. Like if you know that there's someone that has a specialization and you know that for sure that's what they're going to be bringing to the match, how
Mhm.
heavy do you lean into the idea of neutralizing the A game rather than just focusing on your own student's game?
Not too heavily to be fair, man, because I don't really believe in like a set of techniques and trying to overcome those techniques. I more truly believe in like figuring out, you know, the movement patterns and the tendencies of these athletes and putting
Mm,
those into play into my athletes where they can capitalize. So it's not so much we're going to stop, you know, someone from inverting from half butterfly to the saddle. It's like, okay, what movement pattern do we have, or what tendencies or what habits do they create prior to that sequence that we can capitalize on and use. So I'll give an example. And like I said, Anna was at our camp and she was absolutely fantastic all year. We versed her in the world's final of IBJJF Nogi World's just gone. Hugely anticipated match. Everybody wanted to see it. She had a couple of habits that I picked up on that I knew, and we actually took something from one of Adele's past opponents, Jasmine Hosha, and used the kick to the chest when Anna puts her hands down to grab the lead leg, which then causes the off balance, which then causes the secondary leg to come into the air a little bit higher than she wants, and us to attach to it and get the finish. So that wasn't a technique thing. That wasn't like I want to avoid Anna's leg locks. It's okay, what habit does she have that we can capitalize on, you know? And
interesting.
we do a lot of that, man. So I do a lot of study on all the opponents, and like I've mentioned a few times on different platforms and that, like I'm a bit obsessive when it comes to that, man. Like I'll watch your training footage, I'll watch your coach, I'll see how your coach coaches, I'll watch your training partners, I'll watch your training partners' last matches, I'll watch how you train with those training partners and see if you guys are doing anything different to what they would actually do in their match. So what are they changing that what looks are they changing to give to you? You know, I'll watch your stories, I'll listen to your interviews. I go pretty deep, man.
Wow.
Only for the best, you know. So right now, when I said I was studying, I'm finishing the playbook for Keith versus Gabe Souza this weekend. You know, so like I'm just the finishing touches. Like there's nothing new I'm gonna add, but I'm just making sure every T is crossed and I is dotted, and Keith knows what's going on. So like I said, man, I'll watch everything from Gabe from the past, you know, however long I need. There's not actually a time period, but like what I feel I need, and it's not anything to do with Gabe. It's how can I pass this on to Keith that he's able to retain and then perform on the night in key areas, you know? So it's a lot, but it's something that I believe in. I don't think everybody has to do it, you know. I tell guys all the time, like there's some athletes that won't do any of that and they'll be absolutely incredible world champions. They're usually outliers, and you don't usually want to follow the outliers because they've got something that other people don't, you know. But it's helped my athletes, you know, and I think that, you know, even if we go to the losses that we've never really had one of my athletes be blown out by someone, and we've never really had a game plan fail, if that makes sense. We might not have won the match, but the strategy that we had coming in was usually pretty solid, where the athlete you will usually be like I lost, but I felt really good, you know, or I felt like we had the right plan, or like you know, sometimes it just doesn't go your way. Like sometimes it's just one of those days it's just not your day, man, and it just happens. But it's usually pretty spot on.
Jake, I want to zoom in on this because this is actually a very interesting topic. I really like what you're saying about identifying habits rather than identifying particular techniques or positions. So
Hmm.
let me ask you this. How does someone who doesn't have a coach like you above them, who's really doing all this work to help them see better, how can
Yeah.
someone be more self-aware of their own habits? What advice would you give to someone that, basically
Yeah.
the best they can do is take notes and keep a journal and kind of review
That,
what's happening?
bro, that's it. That is the
Okay,
best,
cool. Okay,
So
good.
that
Cool.
is the best. So having goals, and this is something I talk about a lot, and I've got a training log that I created for myself. There's a vast amount of resources out there, but I've got one that I use. I'm more than happy to email it to anyone that reaches out. I don't hide any of this stuff.
Awesome.
And everybody uses it. What we do before, how long we were able to stick to it, what we need to improve after, how we feel, not only, physically, but mentally, visualization wise, game plan wise. It gives us all these readings and we collect this data over a period of time. Start with that, start with note reviews and video reviews. Like I've got a few athletes that, they struggle to get me video because their gyms don't allow it. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I don't get it. They're like, oh, they don't let us film. I'm like, why? And then they just it's just they don't like it, and I'm like, man, how are you going to get better? Like you're not watching what you're doing. Like if I take everything from the major sports, right? Every time that the Golden State Warriors or the Patriots or whoever have a practice or a game, people review that so
Yeah.
that they can correct it and make it better. And then you go, yeah, but they're the best athletes in the world. But isn't that what you told me you wanted to be?
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
care. I don't care if you want to be ADCC world champion. I know I'm not going to be ADCC world champion, but I want to be the best I can be. So why are you not doing that when research shows that this works? Oh, you can't afford it? Do it yourself, man. I literally went to like the Office Works, which would be like I don't know what it'd be for you guys, but it's like a stationery store. It
Okay.
cost me $16 to put together this booklet for my training log for 365 days. So like, no, I don't need to be rich to do that, and I don't need to be rich to buy a pen. All of us, well, most of us have phones these days. You don't need expensive cameraman. Like, put the phone next to the training mat and film it. Or someone's going to sit out around. Hey man, can you film this round? And then I always tell people, if you go and train with people and they don't want you to film their rounds, like film the rounds, stop training with those people because they don't want you to get better. They're more worried about looking bad than you improving. So we have all our training sessions filmed. We have a great one of the parents. Um, we've got a young kid in our gym, Ellie. Her mum, Lauren. She will film. She sends like 100 videos in a WhatsApp group a day.
Wow.
My guys have full access to that. Like if they
Wow.
highlight me, they submit me, they pass my guard, which they've never done, so that's not in there. But if they do any of that other stuff, post it, tag it, because if it helps you improve, and it's going to help the gym improve. And if it comes from a place of trust, which I already spoke about, I trust when you put that takedown online, you're doing it for the right reasons. You're doing it to gain attention for the gym. You're doing it to gain attention for yourself, for sponsors, for super fight opportunities, not to try and show that you're better than me. We don't
Right.
have that, man. And we pick on each other a lot. We banter a lot. But none of my guys are jealous of the other guys getting opportunities or anything like that. If you, like I said, it kind of goes back to what we're talking about. If you have that trust. So if I was like rolling with someone and they don't want me to film because they don't like, if you're not comfortable, you're supposed to be at work or you just don't like being like, you're just socially not a camera person. I completely get it. But if your main reason is because you don't want to get tapped on camera, I just literally wouldn't train with you. When you come to ask me to roll, I'd be like, no, I'm good, bro. I'm going to roll with him. But you've done 5 rounds with him. I'm like, yeah, because I want to get better. And I know he's going to help me get better. Okay. It's fine. It
Absolutely.
doesn't bother me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. No, I love that. I love that. And obviously having video and footage to review. I mean, like you said, in all major sports that are taken real seriously, they take it seriously. They take video, they take
Mhm.
review, they take, how else, like you can't possibly have someone transcribing in a journal every single thing that happened. I mean, you can do your best and journals help a lot.
Hmm.
But yeah, having that video to review is obviously critical. It's cool that
Yep.
you subscribe so strongly to journals and stuff, because I think that's the single biggest shift in my personal journey in jiu-jitsu that I had. It was when I was a purple belt. It actually happened on the podcast. A lot of people don't realize it, but I was interviewing Rafael Lovato Jr. and he
Mm.
was talking about how there was something he said that really just burned into my memory. He says, I don't understand how anyone could go into training and just go through the motions and not write down anything that happened and expect to keep it in
Yeah.
your hard drive. He says,
Yeah.
unless you
Yeah.
have
It's
absolutely
crazy.
nothing else going on in your life. Yeah. If you don't
Yeah. It's
have like
crazy.
anything
Yeah.
going on, then maybe you can remember the details. But I started taking a journal, and it's like, Jake, I was like, dude, why was I not doing this as a white belt?
Yeah. Yeah.
I would have had so much more data and so much more notes to learn from, and so many things that just are lost into the ether now. But ever
Yeah.
since then, it's really given me sort of a guiding light of where to go and which directions I should be in and what I should be working on. So
It's
yeah,
it's part of our like because obviously with working with the international athletes, I'm not in the room with them. So they send me notes and video. It's easy for them because I'm not there. So they know if they don't do it, I don't see it. Therefore we don't get the work. But it's actually compulsory for the professionals in my gym to do it. And they actually get in trouble if they don't. Now they're good at it. They've created the habit. They're very good at it and they see the benefits, so they do it. But we made it compulsory. So we have like a strike policy. If you get X amount, you can't train for a certain amount of time, etc. Right? So it's one of those things that if I ask you, oh, hey Ryan, where's your notes from today? Or what's your goals for the session? And you go, oh man, I don't have any, strike.
yeah,
And you actually have a buddy, so we call them accountability buddies. He gets the strike too. Yeah, because he should have been on your ass to get you to do your notes. So
it's
like
outstanding.
we do that a lot, man. And again, like I said, now the other day I think I had 14 in the room for pro. I said, okay, who's got goals before practice? Every hand went up. And these are kids 17, 18, 19 years old, so like they understand that they're learning that this is what it takes to be professionals.
Yeah,
And same thing when Adele does her sessions when we're in camp. When she's not in camp, we kind of just let her do her thing because she still has to have fun. It's like she still has to enjoy what she's doing. So if she wants to go and train and just have some rounds, just go and have some rounds. But when we're in camp, as soon as she finishes training, I'll get a huge breakdown. This is what we did. This is what I did. This is how I felt, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll get the training footage. And that goes for all of my athletes. And usually because of the time zones too. Like I'll wake up tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. and I'll have like 8 different messages from athletes being like, this is what I did last night, blah, blah, blah. And then I watch the footage and go back through it. And it's just a daily process, man. I love it. I
that's great.
actually enjoy it.
It's made my training a lot more fun. I mean, like it's kind of almost made it at like a mini game out of it. Like if I know that I'm working on, say, like my knee slice passing or something, and my goal, and I have an objective for the day. It's like, okay, today I'm going to do this particular variation of the knee slice, and if I get this reaction, I'm going to try to hit this thing I've been studying. And it gives me like a game. Like there's a purpose. It's not just
Yeah,
going
yeah.
through the motions and stuff. And yeah, it really has like allowed me to design. It's let me get really nerdy about it too. Like a lot of
Yeah.
times my notes throughout the month will influence what the goal is going to be going in for the next month. And I now break my training, even though I'm not a professional or anything. I break my training down like a business. Like I break it into quarters of the year. So quarter one this year, for example, I'm trying to improve my back control.
Yep.
Quarter two, I'm probably going to transition that into. So I haven't quite planned out quarter two yet, but it's going to be coming. And I'll have a 3 month chunks of what exactly it is I'm
Mhm.
working on the overarching things I'm looking at. So
That's perfect, man.
it's
That's
made it
great.
more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
spot on, man. And I think a lot of people would benefit from doing that. Yeah.
Yeah. Jake, let me ask you this, man. Here's an interesting question for you. As someone that works a lot with serious competitors and just kind of day-to-day practitioners alike, what are your thoughts on, let me think the best way to ask this question. There's a lot of people out there training jujitsu that are just kind of day-to-day practitioners, what we call hobbyists.
Hmm.
And they, I think, automatically assume I'm never going to be able to get as technical as a professional competitor. Do you
Sure.
agree with that? Do you think that there are people in your gyms that are technically reach the same levels as some of your star athletes, or could if they just really committed to it?
100%, man. 100%. I actually sometimes dread doing my night class because some of the guys that come in there after their day shift, they're just good, man. I think that the main difference, man, is the want to be competitive. I think that's the main difference, to actually see it as a competition and not just as something you're doing for fun or enjoying. You know what I mean? When you flip that switch and you don't want to lose a point, you don't want to get your guard passed, you don't want to get taken down. I think that changes a lot of things. But in terms of the skill, man, I think everybody that's ever trained jiu-jitsu will have like the good guys, the good competitors in their gym. And then you'll still have these, it doesn't even matter what belt they are, but they'll still put it on the competitors no matter what. And it's like, man, when was the last time that guy competed? It's like, oh, he never competed. Or I competed 10 years ago. Or you know what I mean? Like I think, you don't have to be, I think you should compete just to see if you like it. But I don't think you need to be a competitor to be really highly skilled at jiu-jitsu, even whether that's coaching or applying it in actual roles or anything like that. I don't really think you need that. Um, yeah, I definitely think so, man. I get a lot of hobbyists, and like hobbyists, I don't mean in a derogatory way. They
Yeah,
just,
no,
they're
no,
not
yeah,
they're not
right.
taking it as a professional career, but ask if I coach hobbyists. I'm like, yeah, all the time. Like, I love it. I just love people that love jiu-jitsu. Like, if that's what you want, if you want to get better at jiu-jitsu, I can help you. That's kind of what I tell people. It just so happens that you see me market the athletes more because it's obviously a marketing thing. You get more business and etc. Like it's pretty obvious, but that doesn't mean I care more about them. I did have this issue in the gym once where people thought that I cared more about the competitors than the hobbyists. And I was like, no, it's not that. I don't care about the success. I don't care about the medals or that. I care about how much you care about jiu-jitsu. Usually the professional cares more because they've gone all in. So I want to give more time to that person because that's how much time I give to the sport. I go all in. I can't understand, and I'm getting better at it now. I'm definitely better at it now, but definitely not when I was younger. I didn't understand how people didn't want to be the best. I didn't understand how you just wanted to come in and roll 5 rounds and go home. Like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean you don't want to get here early and drill? What do you mean you don't want to take notes? What do you mean you're not doing every competition? Like, I don't get it. Now I understand it more. But so I would give more time to the competitors or the athletes and that. And it was only because they seemed to care more. Now I'm a lot better at designating my time and things like that. But yeah, I definitely think, man, you could be a world-class level jiu-jitsu practitioner as a hobbyist, definitely.
Jake, what kind of advice would you offer to someone who's just a day-to-day practitioner who kind of mentally defeats themselves before the role even starts if they're paired with someone that's like a high-level competitor? Because as we said, a day-to-day practitioner can become as technical as a serious competitor if they train and take it seriously enough. But they might have that little mental hurdle where it's like, yeah, but this guy's an actual like champion. This guy's an actual serious competitor. What
Mhm.
advice would you give to overcome those kinds of thoughts?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, man, they're thinking more about the outcome of the role than the skill development or the opportunity to get better. And I think that's a really bad habit to get into. Every single role that I have is just about me being better at jiu-jitsu and not about whether I win or lose, but whether I can enhance my skills. We think about, a 12-month, a 6-month progression. How do we not think about a day-to-day progression? Okay, because you can't measure it as well as, oh, I won worlds or I won this, but I can know whether I had a good session or not, whether that's physical or mental, by how I approach it. The two things that we talk about in my room that the only two things we really talk about that we must control is our attitude and our effort. My attitude must be correct and my effort must be 100. Now, 100 isn't being intensity, it's what I can give to that role. So if I can only hold that black belt off for 20 seconds before he passes my guard, give 20 seconds of good guard retention, man. Because next time you'll get 22 and then 25 and then 27. And then it keeps going and going. And then by the time that you look back and go, oh man, he actually didn't even pass my guard that round. That's what happens. So like I think the biggest thing, man, is we think about ego. When you talk about ego, you think about athletes and you think about winning and you think about like someone being better than someone and and telling everyone about it and arrogance and stuff like that. Ego is also just not giving your best because you're scared to lose or because you don't want to look a certain way to certain people or any like that go. You know what I mean? Like I told you on the just before, like my gym is not the hobbyists, but the pros, they're relentless with their banter, man. Like I'm going bald and they tell me every day. Like I'll put a clip up of me passing their guard. They'd be like, yeah, but you're losing your hair. I'm like, okay. So like the thing is I'm not like it's such in a loving and respectful and caring manner that like I don't care if they submit me in the gym. You know, I don't care if they score on me. I don't. I care about whether I'm getting better or not. And like the more you reinforce that as a team and the more you reinforce that to yourself, the less of those battles you have to face, you know. And it is daunting, man. Like, you know, sometimes when I went to Athos for the camp for ADCC a couple of while ago, my first role was Fleet Penner. Like I can't sit there and be like I wasn't nervous or scared or and not even about losing. It was about like, oh, can I show him I'm actually good at jiu-jitsu? And then when we started rolling, I was like, we're doing jiu-jitsu. What does it matter? You know what I mean? What does it matter if number one, he doesn't think I'm any good? It doesn't change my life at all. But two, how do I get the best out of this role? Well, just be me. Just enjoy what I enjoy and do what I enjoy. And then like that'll give back to him what I'm capable of, and then he can work with that. And you know, that's what we're going to go with. As long as you're safe and you're not trying to be like an idiot or something. But you know what I mean? So it definitely, it still can happen, but yeah, just try and take it away, man. Just try and think about each role as an opportunity to get better. Whether it's a bad spot, a good submission, a bad submission, a good takedown, whatever. Just it's everything is an opportunity to get better.
That is tremendous advice, Jake. I really like that a lot. Yeah, that's outstanding. I think there's probably a lot of people that need to hear that too. So I appreciate you
Yeah.
sharing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, very common thing. We talk about ego and stuff. Everyone has it to some degree, and you don't realize that. Yeah, it's not so much about. Obviously, there's the extreme side of having a bad ego where you're hurting people or getting yourself hurt, but it's also
Hmm.
the lighter version is just getting in your own way, getting in the way of your own
Yeah.
progression, and taking
Yep.
away the wrong things from training. So I
Yeah.
definitely appreciate that.
I tell people all the time, man, that like one of the things that about me that I think is a little bit on the crazy side, but also a little bit on like a blessing for me too, is I just have delusional self-belief. Like I just think that I can get better at whatever I want to get better at. And that doesn't mean I think I'm better than you at it or I want to be better than you at it. I want to be better than me at it than I was yesterday. And I'm prepared to put the work in to do that. So like I don't care how I look when these things happen. You know what I mean? I don't care if, you know, oh man, he looks stupid. Oh, he just started, you know, boxing. Oh, he looks like a beginner. Yeah, okay. I am a beginner. That's the whole point. I
Yeah.
want to look like a beginner because that's what I am. You know what I mean? Like I just having that self-belief in what you do is so important because it is about you. You know, you're the one doing it. So yeah, I think it's important.
That's a powerful mindset. Yeah, I appreciate you
Yeah.
sharing that, Jake. That's awesome. Jake, I'll tell you what, man, we've reached about the halfway point of the show. You're a regular listener, so you know what's coming next. We're going to play
Yeah,
the pummel
yeah.
game here. Yeah. So
Yeah, cool.
for anyone new to the show, the pummel is a series of random questions. Some of these are about jujitsu. Some of them have nothing to do with jujitsu. But Jake, I would love to have you play the pummel game with me if you're ready.
Yeah, I love to.
By the way, guys, this week the Pummel Game is brought to you by BJJFanaticsGear.com, the best resource for BJJ gear online. The internet's full of cheaply made rash guards and tacky designs. BJJFanaticsGear.com offers the best materials available and refined designs for everybody. They've also got gis and shorts and shirts and anything else you may need, so check them out at BJJFanaticsGear.com. All right, man. Now, this question for you is a particularly good one because you live in a country that has the scariest wildlife of anywhere in the world. So the
We
first
do, yeah.
question, what is the largest animal that you think you could defeat in hand-to-hand combat?
Yeah, you know what? I've had this conversation so many times. Yeah, as an Australian, we talk about this a lot, man.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Um, can I ask a question back? Are we
Yeah,
like fighting? Are we fighting to the death, or is it just like once someone gets the upper hand, we're going to stop it? Because
I'm
that'll
gonna
change my
say
answer.
let's do, you know what? Let's do both. Let's say that
Okay,
round
play for,
number one. Yeah, round number one
yeah,
is to the death. The second one
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, okay. If I'm going round number one, I'm fighting something that like if I win, like it's a story. It's
Yeah.
a big thing, you know? Like because
Yeah.
if I'm gonna die, I'm going out on my shield. So I'm fighting a chimp, 100%.
A chimp.
Because
Okay. All
that
right.
is the number one animal that everyone's like, nah, you can't beat that. Bro, if I'm going out, I'm going out in style because if I win, I'm also winning in style too. So I think number one would be a chimp. If we're just fighting for like you know, bragging rights or like once someone gets the upper hand, then someone will step in and stop it. Like I'll probably go with like a kangaroo. Out here,
Okay. Yeah.
they can get pretty big, man. They can get pretty vicious. they're very smart. They kill hunting dogs, and they're quite intelligent. So I reckon we call them boomers, a big boomer. I reckon I could get the upper hand on. But if I'm fighting to the death, I'm fighting a chimp.
Dude,
Yeah.
I love both answers. I want to zoom in on each one individually. So first and foremost, the chimp.
Yeah.
Are you aware before you get in a fight to the death with the chimp, are you aware of the tactics they use?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
They attack
like
the
I said, man,
testicles and the eyes. Yeah.
yeah, and the eyes. Yeah,
Okay.
I've had this conversation so many times, and like it's a running joke with our guys because like I said, delusional self-belief.
Yeah.
I've also done like anytime I used to go whenever I traveled the world, I'd try and visit whatever zoo was there, and I'd always go to like the gorillas and the chimps, and I'd ask so many questions, and I want to like learn, and and when I think I was in the Sydney Zoo, man, which is pretty big, they were like, yeah, that's the only enclosure we don't go in. Like we'll go
Yeah.
in with the gorillas, we'll like feed them and blah blah blah. But the chimps, they're pack animals. They are vicious. All right, that's me.
Yeah.
That's my
That's
guy.
right.
Yeah.
You're like, what time is open, Matt? What time's open,
Yeah,
Matt? Let me in
exactly.
there.
Like, why not? Because it's going to be a story regardless.
Yeah, that's great. Now going back to the kangaroos. So, dudes, I've seen videos of kangaroos, and I never realized how muscularly jacked they can get.
Yeah, they're
Like, man,
huge.
I mean,
Yeah,
bro, I always thought them as sort of being like I knew they were tall. I knew they were like as tall as people. But I always thought them of sort of having like the build of like a deer kind of, but dude, you see them
nah.
up close. It's like, dude, these guys have like pecs and abs and like
Yeah, yeah,
triceps and traps. I mean, these are like
yeah. So
strong animals. Yeah.
some of them can be pretty like tame. Like you'll be in the parks and stuff, and they're used to being around humans, so they're pretty placid and whatnot. But out
Yeah.
in the like if you in the bush and stuff where they're pretty wild, they can be pretty vicious, man, and they'll go you for sure. And they're pretty relentless too. Like they don't like attack and then they're like stop. Like they'll keep going until they get you. So like
Wow.
you gotta either be ready to fight or get away because
Ready to
they're
run.
quick
Yeah.
too. Yeah, they're quick
Yeah.
too. So yeah, and they also taste good. So if you've never had
Oh,
kangaroo,
really? I didn't know you
yeah,
could eat
yeah,
them.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
cool, cool.
Oh yeah, bro, they're in our supermarket. We eat them all the time.
No shit. I had no idea. I had
Yeah,
no
yeah,
idea.
yeah. You
Oh,
can
that's
eat them. Yeah,
crazy. Well,
they're kind of chewy. It's like a bit of chew. It's like red meat, but it's like chewy.
okay.
But it's not. It's got a bad smell to it. Like even just like as like you get it out of the packet, like it doesn't smell great. But if you go like in the bush and you've got people that are local to those parts and that you can cook up kangaroo on like a fire and stuff, and it tastes a little bit different. But yeah, it's pretty gamey, I'd say, pretty chewy.
That's interesting. Yeah, I had no, that's a first for me. I had no idea. That's super
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
I saw a video not long ago. There's a couple different Instagram pages I follow. One of them is called Nature is Metal. I don't know if you follow
yeah,
that.
yeah. I
Oh,
follow
dude,
that too. Yeah,
oh, it's great. It's like one of my favorite
bro.
channels.
Dante and I send each other like animal attack videos all the time, bro.
Dude, you
Like
gotta
it's we,
put me in the group chat. I got some for
bro.
you
We do
guys
it
too.
all the time, man. Yeah,
But so there was one I was watching the other day, and I don't think it was on Nature is Metal. It was somewhere else. But this guy, his dog was basically in a rear naked choke from a kangaroo. This kangaroo was like had him in like a choke, like kind of what looked like a chokehold.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And the
They do.
guy
Yeah,
walked up. This is a
and
decent
punched
sized
it.
guy. He punched it in the face.
Yeah, yeah.
And dude,
Punched in the face. Yeah,
bro, the kangaroo could not have possibly be less unfazed. He was just
yeah, yeah. They do.
oh, you kind of just like tapped my face there. And he just stood there staring at him. I was like, dude, if that thing wanted to jump on him now, this guy's in trouble.
Yeah, yeah,
He ate his
yeah.
best punch. Yeah.
Man, one of the tactics they use is they go into like waist high water and get the dogs to follow them in and then push
Oh,
them under
okay.
and hold them. They're smart, bro. They understand. Like
Yeah.
I'm not saying that every kangaroo is smart, but some of them are definitely
Some of them are
intelligent.
smart.
Yeah,
Oh,
some of them
dude.
know what they're doing, man. Yeah.
Man. Well, hopefully there's never a scenario in your life where you have to have a fight to the death with a chimp or any kind of match with a kangaroo either. So,
I
but
don't envision it happening, but I'm not against it. Let's just put it that way.
there could be a CJI event where Jake we line up a
Yeah,
match with him and
Craig, you got
yeah.
my number. If you can organize it, I'll do it.
Jake, if you had a genie lamp and regular genie rules apply, so no killing people, no wishing for more wishes, what three wishes would you choose?
Oh, that's a good one. Can I wish for somebody else?
Yeah, sure, totally.
I would wish, and I think about this a lot. I would wish that my daughter has the fierce confidence to just pursue whatever she wants to pursue without being shut down by the world is what I'll
That's
say.
awesome.
You know,
Love that.
just to be undeniably confident in whatever she wants to do and pursue it to the best of her abilities. I think as a father, like that's, you know, I wish I could control that and give that to her. And you try and build that day to day, but you know, you can't always control that. So I think that would be my first wish because I think that would achieve her happiness. You know, I think that's the key to happiness to me is just doing what you love or attempting to do what you love. So probably that would be the first one. Um, I mean, better jiu-jitsu is always a wish of mine. I wish I was better at jiu-jitsu for sure. I'd probably put that in there. Maybe just understanding it. I think sometimes if I could do jiu-jitsu the way I understand jiu-jitsu, I would be I would appreciate
Yeah,
that a lot more.
sure.
Which is a lot of people's issue, but I
Yeah.
think you know that, and then probably just you know I guess a money one to try and tie everything in, make sure I didn't have to uh, be living week to week or anything like that. So maybe just some not greedy money, but enough to be able to live comfortable and look after my family and stuff like that. They're probably the three good ones.
Those are great wishes, man. I like that. Yeah, as a girl dad, I appreciate. I have a boy and a girl, but as a girl dad, I
Yeah,
appreciate what you said, man. That's something I think
yeah,
about a lot. I want my daughter to start jujitsu soon. She's kind of really into gymnastics right now, but I
yeah,
can I can see all the things that jujitsu will help her with facing exactly what you said, just not
yeah,
being
yeah.
shut down, not being held back, not feeling limited.
Yeah, this is one of the things I tell, you know, people a lot is what I love about working with Adele and Brianna and Mo Black and these high level females is because I'm how close I am with my daughter, she's involved with them and she sees the highest level that a woman can achieve in, you know, her sport or her career and what it takes. And like that's not you know, that's not dad doing that for her. She sees that and she gets to interact with these females and be inspired by these females. And, you know, that's why, you know, sometimes I cop a bit of slack about the amount of females I work with. And I'm like, this is why. You know, this shows my daughter without telling her, like, you can do whatever you want to do. You can achieve whatever you want to achieve. Like she sits on the couch playing Nintendo with Adele and we talk, we have the mindset conversations and she listens and she picks up on things and it's like you know, I'm so grateful for those small wins. She doesn't get it now because she doesn't, you know, it's just normal for her. She grew up in the gym. But I think
Yeah,
when she's
yeah.
a bit older, she'll be like, oh, that's, wow, I actually, you know, was doing this or met this person or did that. And I'm like, yeah, that's, it's cool. So,
It's pretty cool. Yeah, I think
yeah,
about it a lot too. In fact, as you were talking about that, I was thinking of all the people that your daughter has exposure to, all the strong women, and it's the same with my daughter. My wife's fantastic, so she has a real good role model there. But once she starts jujitsu, I mean, it'll be the same thing. I'd like her to be able to see these
hmm
serious competitors. We have like Michelle Nicolini trains at our school,
yeah.
and we've got a
Oh,
handful of
amazing.
yeah, a handful of other up and coming female athletes. One just won world championships as a purple belt. So I do want my daughter to be in that kind of environment to have those same things that you're talking about. So I love that you
Yeah.
chose that as a wish.
Yeah. Even if she doesn't like pursue jiu-jitsu, like I don't care.
Right.
She, she,
Yeah.
kn- she, she knows she has to train because the world now is a bit off. So she has to be able to protect herself. But
Absolutely.
it's just being able, what I meant by that is just being able to see that, you know, because I'm a dad, I'm a male, it's different with a female, right? So she can see that live of someone pursuing their dreams and achieving them through hard work and dedication and relate to that a little bit more than, you know, dad. So like it's
Absolutely.
I'm so grateful for that, you know?
Yeah. No, it's incredible. I love that you chose that as a wish. I also like what you said about jujitsu. Obviously, having like improved jujitsu, and I had to laugh when you were saying that like if your jujitsu matched your understanding of dude, that's I can't tell you how many times like in a round where I see exactly what I could be doing, and it's like and
Yeah, yeah.
I just don't have the gas to get it. I'm too
No,
exhausted
no.
or the timing's
No.
off, and
It's
it's
just
like as it passes, it's like damn, I knew what to do there. I knew what that opportunity was. I just couldn't for whatever reason time it right, or I didn't have the gas to go for it. So
yeah,
it's one of those. Yeah,
I get asked all the time, like, oh, how do you coach so and so when they're so much better than you? I'm like, yeah, because they are better than me. That's what they pay me for because
yeah,
I'm not as good as them, but I see things different. If I could
exactly. Yeah,
do it the way I saw it, we would be in switch roles. Like, I
yeah,
understand this, you know what I mean? Like, it's,
yeah.
I wish it sometimes, but I also like my role, so it's all good.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's that balance of understanding and then being able to do it. That's what separates the world champs and stuff, you know. But
That's
it's
it, man.
but obviously, you know, there's also a lot of the world champs that would not have the insight that they have had it not been for a coach like you or a coach like you know, any name any major coaches that have coached champions. I mean,
Sure.
you need those roles are that knowledge doesn't get picked up independently. It has to be it's
No,
passed
yeah,
on, you know. So
yeah, I definitely, yeah, I definitely agree with that.
yeah. What do you think is the worst job that you ever had in your life?
Oh man, I did a lot to just try and make it in jiu-jitsu. Probably the worst one I had, man, was like I said, I grew up in Belmont my whole life, and I took a job at the movie theater because I was like I could do nights and like
Yeah.
do jiu-jitsu during the day.
Yeah.
And I only worked 2 shifts, man, because the 2 shifts that I worked, I was like ripping the tickets. That was my only job. And like I'd been semi-successful playing football, and like people thought I was gonna do pretty well. And then a lot of my friends came through, or people I hadn't seen, it just over those 2 days. And I just felt like shit that I was ripping tickets. And I was like, I'm supposed to be doing more than this. What am I doing? And so I
Yeah.
just didn't go back. Yeah, I didn't even tell them. I just didn't go back. I was like,
It just didn't show up.
I'm out. Yeah, I'm just, so that,
Whatever happened to that Jake guy? Yeah.
yeah. So I'd go there. I take my daughter there all the time. So I wonder if, I don't know if they would like see me or what, but no, that one probably mentally was probably the worst, man, because it made me feel like I wasn't living up to my potential or I missed the boat, you know? So it really like snapped me out of whatever I was doing. In terms of like physical, probably security, man. Security, like some people love it and I applaud them for it. For me, it was just hectic. Weekends, fights, bars, clubs. It just wasn't, I was very grateful for it because it allowed me to travel. But yeah, I could I have nightmares about going back sometimes, man. Like I have a dream and I'm working security. I wake up, I'm in a cold sweat. I'm like, I don't want to do it.
Yeah. Dude, I did security for almost 4 years in Atlanta before I went back when I was a blue belt, and I'm glad I did it because what it taught me was that my jujitsu that I've learned does work,
Yep.
and I can use it in real situations, and it's kind of like second nature. Like I remember not having to really think about like things would pop off, and I'd have a clinch, and I'd do like a leg clip takedown and get to mount and just control, and I was like, wow, I didn't even have to think about that. Like it's just
Yeah, yeah.
things started popping off, and immediately I'm taking down into mount and controlling it. So it's nice to know that. At the same time, I have flashbacks like, dude, that could have been real. I could have got stabbed. I could have
What?
got
Yeah,
shot. Like this, and what to make
exactly.
like 100, make $100 at the end of the night. It's just not
Yeah.
worth it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't have like the weapons and stuff as in America and things like that. But I
Yeah.
remember a
True.
few situations, man, where it could have gone really, really bad and it could have completely changed the trajectory of my life. And I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
so grateful that didn't happen, you know. And I
Oh
was so
yeah.
young too, man. I was 20, 21. Like, you do a sentence for something, it affects you for the rest of your life. So yeah, I'm very lucky that I got out of there unscathed.
Yeah, yeah, no, I mean yeah, that's another aspect of it too. It's not so much what can happen to you; it's what can happen to the other people. Like even if you're real
Yes.
controlled, a lot of the bars and clubs I worked at, I actually worked for a company. It was like a firm, like they call it a stable. I worked for a stable that would get contracted to cover bars and clubs and events and stuff. And I remember that they always liked me because it's like, man, Ryan doesn't punch people. Like he doesn't like I never have
Yeah,
to worry
yeah,
about Ryan knocking someone's teeth out. He does this jujitsu stuff, and so
yeah.
so they liked me, and the promoters and stuff liked me, the ones I worked for. And, but I remember thinking like, man, you know, in the chaos of things, if I'm taking somebody down and I don't see that there's a stool behind them and they hit their head on the way down, even
Yeah,
though
it's
my
crazy.
take,
Yeah.
yeah, even though I'm not doing like a blast double, I'm doing like a very clinch controlled, you know, kind of thing. They could hit their head the wrong way. And now, dude, now I'm in prison. And so,
Yep.
yeah, I don't recommend anyone do that work, but yeah, it's something that it sounds like you and I both did. So,
Yeah, it's a tough
um,
gig, bro.
what do you think is your favorite bad food to eat?
Like cheap food?
Yeah, like junk food.
Like
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh man, my nutritionist hates me, man. I'm a big sweets eater. Probably donuts. Yeah, donuts
Donuts.
are
Yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah, you guys call it candy, but we call it lollies. Literally I will have 2, 3 bags of lollies a day when I'm not
Nice.
like I'm pretty bad with it. Anytime we try, America's so bad for me, man, because you guys have so much bigger portions and like
I know. Yeah,
stuff I don't get here. So like when I go there, I'm like, I need this, and I don't really
yeah,
need it. But yeah, probably donuts, man. If you ask my daughter, she'd like dad eats donuts all the time. So probably that.
yeah. Did you know what's funny about the ingredients and stuff is since living abroad, when I go back to the States to visit, I realize like, man, I gain weight so much faster. I don't think it's just the portions. I think it's also just like some of the ingredients. Like there's
Yeah,
certain
fair.
things in the
Yeah.
food that's like, man, I swear I'll eat this exact same thing outside the US. And then when I'm back in the US eating the exact same thing, I am gaining weight like way faster. And I can
Yeah,
feel it. Like,
I
yeah,
definitely bump weight classes when I'm there, man. Unless I have to make weight, I'm in trouble. Like
yeah,
I gotta delete the Uber Eats app. I gotta not have a car or else I'm dangerous.
yeah, yeah. What do you think is your most hated food? What's something you cannot eat no matter what?
Man, I'm allergic to a lot of food, and a lot of food people is normal for
Really?
people. Yeah, so I'm allergic to chicken, fish, eggs, and nuts.
What? No
Yeah, yeah.
way.
So like chicken is something I don't eat. Any
No
seafood.
kidding.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that allergy before.
No. Yeah. No one. No one has. And it always surprises people. So chicken and eggs I can eat. Eggs I can eat when they're cooked into something. When
Hmm.
they're like scrambled on a plate, I get sick. And chicken, I get sick. I get rashes and like
No
flare
kidding.
ups, or I'll vomit or something like that. Um,
Wow.
my daughter's the same with eggs. My daughter's the same with eggs. My
Wow.
brothers are the same. Um, and then fish, like seafood and peanuts, I'm anaphylactic. So yeah, a lot of good protein sources there. Like I said, my nutritionist hates me. Shout out Lauren Nash, Up Nutrition. She's the best, but she hates me. She's always trying to, she always has to move stuff around for me and get stuff going so that I make weight and stay in shape, but it's hard.
Yeah, I mean it sounds like your macros would have to be pretty specific if you can't have fish or chicken or eggs by themselves. Yeah,
Man,
that's
I
very interesting.
honestly, I eat a lot of acai. So it's funny
Oh,
because
cool. Okay.
I used to eat red meat twice a day and it was fine. But it just got to a point lately, like maybe the last 12 months, where I was like, I just don't want to eat that much red meat. Like, what can we do? And then obviously we moved some protein and stuff around. And then I was like, look, can I just have smoothies and acai for lunch and like fruit? Because that's what I like.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah. So we started doing that, and now we've got it pretty dialed in, man. Some days I'll mix it all in a smoothie with protein. Other days I'll get like literally. I had it today. There's a cup next to me of acai with fruit and honey and stuff, and I usually have it post training with a protein shake, and I feel so much better, man. And it's just yeah, just for me, I just like it. I like fruit. I like the taste. So yeah, we ended up doing that, and yeah, it's been good.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, I'm glad that yeah, glad it doesn't affect you too badly then. It
Yeah,
sounds like you know what you like and it sounds like it works within the macros and everything, so that's great.
yeah, that's it.
What do you think was the scariest moment of your life?
Scary. Oh, yeah. I could tell this story.
Okay.
Her mum's definitely not going to listen to this podcast.
Okay.
I was teaching a private one day when I was like a brown belt, and I had my daughter, and she was out there teaching with me in the garage, and then we come inside. The private comes inside, say goodbye. He leaves. I tell my daughter I'm going to go for a shower, and she's watching TV, right? I come out. I can't hear the TV. I can't hear the iPad. I'm like, that's weird. Ava, where are you? Don't hear anything. Start to get a little bit worried. Go in the lounge room. She's not there. Go in her bedroom. She's not there. Like maybe she went outside. Went outside. She wasn't there. So I really start to panic now. Start yelling her name out. Nothing. And then I'm like, run outside to the street, looking around. Nothing. Run out the front. There's a kid out the front. I'm like, have you seen a girl come out here? He's like, no. I'm thinking I've left the door open when I'm in the shower and someone's come in. I have a
Oh
dog,
no.
so I let the dog in. I was like, "Where's Ava? Where's Ava? Get Ava!" Like try and get him. He's not doing anything, not looking for her, nothing. I call the guy that I had the private with. I'm bawling, man. I'm crying by this stage. I'm like, I can't find this is not like a 30-second period. This is like 5, 6 minutes, man. And that doesn't seem
Oh
like
man.
much,
That's no,
but
it's an
it's a long
eternity.
time, man. And I call him
Yeah.
like, she's gone. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, she's not here, bro. He's like, I got in the shower and she's not here anymore. He's like, I'm coming back. And I'm just crying. And then I go run back in her room and I'm like screaming out. And then I see the covers of her bed move. And I rip the
Oh.
covers off, bro. And she goes, hide and seek. And I
Oh
was
my
like,
God,
bro,
dude.
I grabbed her so hard, I cuddled her and I was crying. She's like, Dad, why? She's like 4 years old, bro. She's like, Dad,
Yeah,
why are you
yeah.
crying? And I'm like, never, we're never playing hide and seek ever again.
Yeah,
ever
yeah.
again. Yeah. So that,
You gotta let me know we're playing. Yeah, yeah.
bro, that was literally the scariest moment of my life because I honestly thought because I'm a pretty what's the word like what's the word like I'm pretty on the ball with that kind of thing, man. Like
Sure,
I'm
sure.
pretty protective, you know, like I'm pretty protective.
Yeah.
I'll check all the doors, make sure everything's like all that kind of stuff. So
Nice.
I'm thinking, man, I've left the door unlocked or something, and like instantly gone worst case scenario. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like worst case.
Yeah.
And yeah, but she was fine, and we haven't played hide and seek since. I just if
No,
she
I'm
ever
glad
asks,
you.
I'm like, nah, you
Yeah,
lost it. You
no way.
lost that
Yeah, yeah,
privilege.
yeah. You won. Yeah, you won the game forever. You're the reigning undefeated hide and seek champion. There's no reason for me
Exactly,
to
you
challenge
win.
the
Yeah,
title. Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
No, dude,
Yeah,
it really is. Yeah, your brain as a parent does change a lot. It's something I've come to realize. You do think of the worst case scenarios first, and I'm trying to train myself to not do that because it's, I mean, it's
yeah.
stressful. But yeah, it's just something that I think it's just wired in our DNA as creatures. We
It
just
is,
do
man.
that.
And
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, it is. And I'm a pretty protective person myself anyway, not just like obviously my daughter, but my friends and my family and
yeah,
stuff, you know,
yeah,
even the athletes, they know, bro. Like I don't do it in terms of I don't reply to people's comments online. I'm not that guy, but I definitely know if you've commented and I definitely
yeah,
know this. You know what I mean? Like
yeah. Know where
when you
you
come to me.
train. Yeah,
Bro, if you say something about
yeah,
Adele and then like you come to me and be like, "Hey, what's up?" I'm like, "Nah, bro,
like,
that's not
yeah,
us, man."
no, no, you can keep it
Yeah,
keep it moving. Yeah,
exactly. But
yeah,
I'm not an internet. I don't like to reply on stuff, but the girls know too, especially the girls. They know I'm pretty protective when it comes to that stuff. So
that's
sometimes
awesome.
they'll leave me out of stuff too because they know I'll be like,
Yeah, yeah,
what happened?"
yeah. What do you say? Where's this guy live? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
What would you say is your biggest phobia besides losing your daughter? What's like your biggest phobia overall?
Phobia. I don't know, man. I don't like heights. I'm actually
Heights. Yeah.
petrified of flying, actually. Yeah,
Really? Okay.
I don't like heights. I'm petrified of flying. I'm better now, but I still get like shaky when I know I'm about to fly. I used to try and bring my daughter everywhere, and then when I had my partner as well, I would try and just bring them just for comfort, just because I hated it. But literally, this month has been the first 2 months I've been home in the last 2 years where I haven't been on a plane for like
Wow.
in that month, you know, whether it was a weekend or whether it was 2 weeks or whatever. But yeah, I hate flying, man.
Yeah.
It just gets to me so bad. And last time I went to Thailand with Dante, the plane literally flew into a thunderstorm. Like
Oh,
I was taking videos, man. Like this is hilarious. There's a thunderstorm over there. Like that's crazy. And then they turned into it. And I literally said to
oh.
Dante, I was like, bro, I was praying, I was sweating.
So,
I had this old Asian dude next to me. He was so calm and stoic. And I was like, I'm not getting out of here. It was crazy.
oh my God. Yeah, it's got to be the worst feeling. You're filming something like, oh wow, how wild. Then they start turning it like, wait, what are you doing? What are you doing? Turn the other
Literally,
way.
that's
Yeah.
literally what happened, man. Because I was like, like everybody knows that's around me knows that I'm petrified of flying. So I was like, when I get
Yeah.
off, I'm gonna put this in the group chat. The boys are gonna laugh. They're gonna be like, ha ha. Imagine if you flew into that. And then we did, and I was like petrified, bro.
Dude, it's funny because there's a lot of people that are afraid of heights. That's a pretty common thing. But then there's a lot of people that aren't bothered by heights unless they're on a plane. And it's because they don't have
Yeah.
control over what's going on. Like,
I honestly think that's it, man. I think
yeah,
if I was to go into it, I think it's that if something was to happen, I can't control the outcome of whether I am able to either survive or even help those I love survive. I think that's
yeah,
what it is more than anything else, you know?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
very common. That's a very common phobia. Jake, final question for the Pummel game. If a zombie apocalypse breaks out right now in Perth, what's the first thing you do?
First thing I do, oh man, I'd probably gather the pro team because there's enough guys in there that I could sacrifice to get a good getaway, I reckon. Yeah. Yeah, I reckon there's
I
a
thought you were gonna say they're the best fighters, you know. You're just gonna use them
nah,
as
nah,
like
nah, nah,
just
nah,
fodder.
nah,
Yeah.
nah.
Yeah, you
Nah,
guys
just fodder,
charge.
bro.
I'm right behind you. Yeah.
Yeah, and they'll listen to this, and you guys can pick which ones I'm talking about because you know who you are. I would, yeah, there's enough of them there that I reckon I could distract enough to get myself and my daughter out of there and just go to Rottnest or something, bro. Rottnest is a little island off the coast of where I'm at, and it's got like you ever seen quokkas? They're like little
Uh
giant rat. I say little,
No.
but they're like kind of giant rats, and they're like happy rats. Like they
Oh yeah, like the
smile and
big
they take fire.
rodents and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So the Rottnest is like, a 30, 45 minute boat ride from where I live. So I'd probably sacrifice my protein and go to Rottnest and try
That's
and
great.
live out my
I
days
love it.
there.
I love it, man. I love it. I love it. You'll sit there thinking, drinking, having a nice drink on the beach, thinking about the jokes that they made for you about your hairline, and just like, yeah, who's laughing
Yeah.
now? This is,
Yeah, well,
yeah,
man,
this is
I, I taught them jiu-jitsu. They sacrificed their life. That's what it
exactly.
is,
It's
right?
fair trade, fair
That's
trade. But
yeah,
it's actually
I think
part of the
so.
contract. If you look
Yeah.
closely at the contract of Jake's school, it does say that in the fine print.
It
And if you
is in
didn't read
the it
that,
is in there.
it's
It
your
is in
fault. If you
there.
didn't read
So
the contract, I'm
yeah.
sorry, sir. It's your
Right,
fault.
half of them can't read, so they're not gonna look, they're not even gonna read it. They just skimmed it anyway.
Hey,
They can't
that,
read.
that
So
that's their fault too. That's their fault too.
yeah.
That's their fault too. Yeah. Jake, that was excellent, man. Congratulations. You won the pummel game. You got your double underhooks.
Awesome. Thank you, man.
Of course. And once again, guys, the pummel game was brought to you by BJJFanaticsGear.com. Head over to the website to check out the very best gear on the market. So, man, Jake, while you're here, I want to pick your brain a little bit on some technique. Specifically, I'd
Cool.
love to talk to you about straight ankle locks. So, when you're attacking a straight ankle lock, which Ashigurami configuration do you prefer the most, and why?
Cool. So I'll give my answer, man, and then I'll give what I think is a better answer for everybody. I prefer 50-50. I have a really good straight footlock from 50-50. It actually cost me at WNO against Jay-Z Cavalcanti. But I've used it more to win than I have to lose. But I like it from 50-50. I get a lot of braking power from there. I get a lot of braking mechanics. Sorry, I get the setup is really good that I like. For everybody else, I would be looking at outside ashi on your inside hip or flat back. I think that is the best option. I think you have a lot of opportunities to transition to other leg entanglements. I think you have the ability to control. I think you have the ability to break from there. I think there's less chance of you being counted when you're flat back or inside hip, especially inside hip. Flat back, you can still get that inside heel hook if you're lazy about it, like I was. Inside hip is a lot better for defense. The cons to that though is the fact that they're facing you, so they're going to be able to use their hands to disentangle the leg entanglement or use their secondary leg to pummel. But again, if you are trying to be not an expert, but like pretty competent in the leg entanglements, that's something you mostly have to deal with anyway. So personally, I love 50-50. There's on the DVD that we produce, there's a whole section of that and why, and we get a lot of really good control and braking pressure from there. But for everybody else, if you're not comfortable in 50-50, which a lot of people aren't, I would say outside ashi, but on your inside hip or flat back.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. It's funny. You and I were talking off air. That's actually the place I like to be. I like to be on an outside ashi with inside hip. So,
Yes.
yeah, I think that my 50-50, I think a lot of people, it's intimidating because they feel like, well, hence the name, you can attack me a lot of times the same way I can attack you. So there's a little bit of that,
Yeah.
that fear of having a gunfight, so to speak.
100%.
But I also love that you pointed out that there's some pretty tremendous controls and braking mechanics from there. So it's important to have that aspect of your game sharp as well.
Yeah.
Speaking of braking mechanics, what would you say are some of the most important components of proper braking mechanics when it comes to the straight ankle lock itself?
Yeah, so one of the ones that there's a couple that I like, man. So number one is like the direction of the kneecap is where the direction of your force should go. So whichever way your opponent's kneecap faces is actually the direction you want the force of your hips and your braking pressure to go. This is a big one because some people, let's imagine that the knee is in a straight line, you can bridge straight up. But if they turn their knee to the outside now and you still bridge straight up, you're not getting the proper braking mechanics. Therefore, you're not going to get the submission you're looking for. That's number one. And then actually isolating the hip joint, which is something I got from Mateusz Szczynski, where he uses he uses a different grip to what I use. I use kind of like a figure four underneath the knee. He kind of uses a bit of a lower grip because he likes Aokis a little bit more. But what we do is we push the hip and ball socket into itself. So it basically sticks to itself. So the hip can't move. So then if we break that down into more of like a technical explanation, like we always understand that if we can control the upper joint, the pressure will come down. So like if we can control the hip, it's going to go to the knee. When the knee is stabilized, then it's going to go to the shin, which is where I'm really looking to break. And then eventually the foot. I actually go in that order, man. I'm looking to put pressure on your knee to snap your shin, maybe I'll get the foot. Um, but yeah, I took that from Mateus. You know, Mateus, I think he showed it in one of his DVDs, but then we also had him for a leg lock camp here with Camille Wilk, and I asked him about it, and we went over it a bit. Yeah, those are the two details that I really like for the breaking mechanics. And as I just mentioned there, man, I actually don't go too low on the ankle. I actually go halfway up the calf and the shin, and I'm actually looking to break your shin, not your foot. Which I think is which is a big difference. You know, a perfect example, and she won't mind me saying it, but is when Adele fought Fionn. Adele broke Fionn's foot, and I'm not saying literally, like I'm not saying there was broken bones. I've got no idea, but you know, she was limping on it and whatnot. But Fionn's super tough, man, so it didn't tap. But if Adele broke her shin, I'm not sure she would have been able to continue. Does that make sense? So at the highest level, people can take a pop in the foot. They've got no issues. But if you break someone's shin, I think it's a completely different ball game. So that's what we're trying to do with, and I show this in the DVD and explain that as well. That's what we're more looking to do.
That's a great point. That it's funny because your answer just kind of answers my next question I had, which was, obviously we run into people on the mats who are just super flexible. Sometimes they just have these real crazy rubber kind of feet. And I was going to ask
Yeah,
what the follow up is then. So it sounds like if
yeah.
you're targeting the shin first,
No
that
one's
kind of
got
addresses.
no
Yeah,
one's got flexible shins, bro.
I've never
Yeah,
met
no
anyone
one's
with a
got.
flexible shin. Yeah.
I have never met anyone with a flexible shin, but I've met someone with a shin that's like a steel rod, and that's Dante. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
the
sure,
first
sure,
time I
yeah.
ever tried to roll with Dante, I got this position a couple of times and tried it, and he just looked at me like I was stupid, and I was like, yeah, you know what, bro, this works, all right. So
On
you
everyone
stay
else.
out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you stay out of this. But yeah, a lot of the time, man, people's like the shin will give. It's
Yeah.
and the foot, you could, like I said, you could take the pop, or you're just ridiculously flexible. I've got flexible feet. I'm not flexible anywhere else, but my feet are flexible. So when people go low on the straight ankle with me, I'm pretty comfortable because I feel like, my feet are pretty flexible. But then I'll reference it again, the WNO match. When it goes to my knee, I'm not flexible. So I do have to tap to heel hooks. Um, yeah,
That's funny because I'm the exact same way. I'm the exact same.
yeah,
It was kind of a running joke in the gym that I came up in that, like, if you go for a straight ankle on Ryan, his the flexation of it, the flexing limits that he can get to with his foot are greater than what you can arch with your back. And so
yeah,
what'll eventually happen is my toes will just pop out. And
yeah.
so,
And
yeah, so it's something that's just kind of a lucky thing. But then if you heel hook me or do anything else, it's like, yeah, okay, I'm not
man,
going to try to
Ash
hit that.
Ash
Yeah.
Williams is like that. Yeah, I spent a lot of time training with Ash Williams. He's like that, and I would try to footlock him all the time, and he'd always be like, "Yeah, it's tight," but he's just ridiculously flexible feet, and I'm like, "Well, I got to figure out how to do this so that he doesn't have flexible feet, And not that it ever worked, but uh, I definitely feel like if I was able to make those corrections to the shin, maybe I had more success. Maybe he would have laughed at me as well. I don't know, bro. That's the beauty of jiu-jitsu. We don't know.
I mean, different. You run into different genetics and stuff. It's interesting. My brother's actually the exact same way. So it must be just something genetic. But yeah,
Yeah,
I like
nice.
I like how you pointed out a pretty simple solution though. Is you just, rather than attacking the Achilles, you just go up towards the shin. So, and
Yep.
I have had my tibia cracked before from that same sort of attack,
Yeah, yeah.
and it wasn't
Luis,
pleasant.
Luis
So
Panza had his shin broken in competition once. I don't remember. I
yeah.
can't remember who did it, but same thing. He was quite well known for the footlock and finishing people, and I think they had a shootout. And I can't remember who did it to him, but someone got him a little bit higher, and his shin snapped. I'm pretty sure, and that was
Yeah.
nasty. You know what I mean? So it's definitely possible.
Absolutely. Yeah. Jake, in recent years, when it comes to leg locks, it seems like there's been so much emphasis on heel hooks that sometimes other forms of leg attacks almost kind of get overlooked. Have you noticed
Mhm.
that as well? Do you feel like sometimes straight ankle locks and just straight leg attacks like we're describing get overlooked in general by a lot of athletes?
100%, man. I think it's very much comes down to like the ego we're talking about before, like a lot of people are going to tap a lot quicker to heel hooks and those things because they don't want to spend 12 months on the sidelines. But like if you armbar me and I'm really that stubborn and you break my arm, it's 6 weeks in a cast compared to 12 months with your ACL. So like a lot of people are getting submissions on people that they probably wouldn't get. That's an argument you have from no gi to gi a lot as well. I think that plays a major factor, man. But like I said before, every time I try and roll, I try and use it as a opportunity for development. So for me, like, yeah, I have heel hooks, but like the straight footlock gives me the ability to control. I cover this a bit in the DVD. So not only can I submit from there, I can sweep, I can pass, I can counter in terms of like berimbolos. Obviously, if I was to get a single leg and wrench it quite high to a straight footlock grip, I can utilize takedowns as well. So there's multi facets to the straight footlock over just the finishing mechanics. Whereas the heel hook, not so much. There's not as much control. Definitely more power to break a knee or to get a tap, definitely. But not as much as an overall finishing position, in terms of like everything I just mentioned. So I definitely think so, man. But it also just depends on like what you're trying to do. Are you trying to be an exceptional grappler, or are you trying to win the majority of competitions? And I think there's no wrong answer. It's just what you're trying to do. Like perfect example, Michael Pixley. Like, would I ever tell Michael Pixley to go and pull guard? Like, what would be the point of that? Like, he
Yeah,
wants to win tournaments. So
yeah.
why would he not just wrestle all the time? You know what I mean? Like, or does Michael Pixley want to be the best grappler on the planet ever, not just as an athlete, but as a coach, as a student of the game? So then he would have to learn that stuff because you need to have the knowledge there. So it really just depends on what your goals are and what you're trying to achieve, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, really well said. Well, guys, listen, if you're out there and you're wanting to improve your leg attacks, specifically straight ankle locks and straight foot locks, check out Jake's new instructional. It just dropped. It's actually his first one he has on the platform. So, Jake, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
It's called In Essence, the Straight Foot Lock, and it's available right now at bjjfanatics.com. I highly recommend it. It's very, very, very well put together instructional from a very reputable source. So
Thank you.
check it out. Man, Jake, in closing, what are some of your major goals for 2026? What are some things you hope to accomplish by the time the year is over?
Yeah, man, like individually, I want to hit the 3 of the 4 Nogi majors this year. I'm
Nice.
still not done competing. So for me, like I'm still competing Master 1 at the moment. So I want to do those, and I've got big ambitions to win those. Obviously with the athletes, it's a ADCC year. Adele has the opportunity to do something special with winning her weight class and the super fight. Which could take her to 4 ADCC titles, which is incredible and should probably qualify her for the Hall of Fame. So that's definitely something we're thinking about. And then same thing, man. All the other athletes have massive goals. A lot of them want to win trials or win ADCC, or hoping CGI comes back around and wanting to do that, or just taking massive super fights. And then just with my guys too, man, just continue to show them the path and give them the opportunities that I've been able to afford now that I'm doing what I'm doing, like show them that they can do this too, but also like use me as leverage to get some opportunities and to make a name for themselves. And then obviously, man, like the number one, and this is just to be the best dad that I can be, man. Like I'm a single dad that just loves spending time with his daughter, man, and there's nothing better in this world. And if I had to choose today, it wouldn't even be a choice. I wouldn't even be here. I'd be spending time with her and doing things with her, man. So just that is always number one priority is providing for her and being there for her. So
Well, folks, unfortunately, we're fresh out of time. Jake, it's really been a pleasure having you on the show, my friend. Thank you for taking the time to be here. You gave tremendous insight for everything from coaching to mindset, and it's truly appreciated. Also, again, it means a lot that you've been a longtime listener of the show. I really am flattered by that, and you're welcome on anytime you'd like to come back in the future.
honestly, man, I really do appreciate you reaching out and get me on. Like I said, I do listen to the podcast, so it has been surreal when you reached out to say that you wanted me to be on. And anyone that has made it this far to listen, I appreciate you listening as well. And if you have any questions or anything, you're more than welcome to reach out and send me a message, and I'll do my best to help where I can. And if you ever make it to isolated Perth, you guys are more than welcome to drop in and train.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, yeah, Jake, again, it really is appreciated. And for anyone out there that wants to keep up with Jake, it's very easy to do so. He's active on Facebook. You can find him there. His Instagram is JakeOD_EssenceBJJ. He's got a great Patreon as well. Just type in Jake O'Driscoll and you'll find him. Make sure you subscribe there. And then also, guys, as Jake said, if you guys are ever traveling through Perth, Australia, this is one of the best academies in the country that you can drop into, essencebjj.com.au. to get information about their schedule and location. And then, guys, if you can't make it to Australia and train with Jake directly, you can learn from him anywhere in the world here at BJJFanatics.com. He just dropped his first instructional with us called, in essence, the Straight Footlock, which we talked about in depth in today's episode. So if you want more of that knowledge, head over to BJJFanatics.com and get a hold of it. And that's going to do it for this episode, everybody. I really appreciate you tuning in. Please stay tuned for the next episode of the BJJ Fanatics podcast.